Welcome back, fellow spy nerds, to the Spies Like Us podcast. It's the podcast where we like to discuss the representation of tradecraft on screens, large and small. Today, we're on the small screen, and with me, as always, is David, who's going to tell us, hey, what's up, dude? What's up, sexy?
Just chilling.
What do you want to talk about today?
Slough Horses, episode 1 and 2. Much awaited.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Yeah.
Slough Horses. That's where can we see that?
Right now, it's only on Apple TV.
An Apple TV original,
Yeah.
and 6-episode miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
The 6th episode, if I'm not mistaken, has not yet dropped. So we're gonna do this in 3 parts. Episodes 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. And by the time we get to 5 and 6, 6 will be out. So we'll actually have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to tell you right now, they always plan to do at least 2 seasons of this, so we will get more.
Oh, that's very exciting. Yeah, I heard there was a book series, so it's nice to know there's a lot more to get from this story.
I think there are 8 books out.
Wow.
This one was published in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So dude's been staying busy, and yeah, I mean, dude, I'm so into this fucking show. And loving this little corner, shall we call it, of the spy community. It's really interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, I feel like most spy content tries to give us the most elite available, unless it's like a comedy or something, like a goofy like parody. But this, like, it's like a darkish comedy-ish, and like they're showing us like the bare bottom of the barrel type of spy team. So it's kind of fun to see something like this.
Right. Let's make sure we tell people what they're getting into if they haven't gotten their hands around this yet. And by the way, I'm unashamed in saying, like, I absolutely highly recommend this to pretty much anyone over the age of 12.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Gary Oldman alone, yeah.
One of my critics described it as like British insult comedy. So it's not quite like the super dry British Bake Off kind of stuff that we get with the Ipcress file. It's a little snarkier than that, but it's definitely not a parody. I mean, You're right. I would say, I mean, it's okay. I wouldn't say this is so much of well, it is a dark comedy, but it's more of it's a funny drama. It's definitely not a comedy, but the quips are fucking like razor sharp.
Yeah.
Some of these people really do not like each other at all.
No.
And are not happy with their colleagues and their subordinates, etc. But
like, wasn't there the two in there's that guy, the super cheerful guy that always wants to do pub quiz together.
He's hilarious.
He keeps inviting them, and then the lady and the guy never want to go, but then they go out together and like avoid him and just trash talk how much like they hate being around him. It's that type of an office environment that we're
on a certain level. This is kind of similar to The Office, where you just have this like cast of characters. Some are very much in the foreground, some a little bit in the background, but everyone's got their own like reasons for being here. And secrets from each other and different attitudes about what they do while they're being here. Like you mentioned, there's the one guy that's just like always like, hey, we should get a pub quiz team together. We should go paintballing.
Yeah.
And right. And that character I don't think existed in The Office per se, but he absolutely could have. Let's Dave, can you explain to us the high concept of this show? Like, why is it called Slough Horses?
So, again, as we kind of hinted at a little bit. There's like a an office of the MI5 that's not even in the main building, that is comprised of all the rejects, people they didn't do anything bad enough to get fired, but they screwed up enough to where, like, no, we're just gonna put you here in the rejects corner. Is I think the best way to describe it.
Yeah, it's the rejects corner. It's the we're too embarrassed. For some reason, like, we don't want to fire you.
Yeah,
I've heard this happens to teachers a lot too, by the way.
yeah,
There's a whole, like, at least in LA, maybe in other parts of the country as well, but like where something happened where like they don't have grounds to fire them because they are a public, servant.
hmm
But also, like, they don't want them in the classroom anymore, and so they just send them to this one, like, room where they just sit there,
yeah,
and that's their job for the rest of their career, is just like waiting for you to quit. But you still get paid,
yeah.
but you just go to a room where you sit down in a chair and do nothing all fucking day. It's kind of similar to that.
Some of the reasons they got fired were, or put there, were pretty. Like the one guy left top secret materials on a train, right?
Everyone's got a story of why
Yeah,
they're here, which is one of the really cool elements of this show.
yeah,
Um, yeah, there. I don't know which one, but I guess one of them is there for just sending like a highly inappropriate email.
yeah.
Which I'm guessing that's Mr. Happy Dude.
Right, yeah.
Um, but I'm not sure. And some people, the reason for being here is known to other people. Some people, they don't know why they're there, or
Oh,
they
like
don't
the
know why
hacker?
their colleagues are there. Right? The hacker,
Did it
apparently, he
turn
doesn't.
out he was just so insufferable nobody wanted to work with him? And
It's
so
just be,
nobody told
it's just because he's a dick.
him. He's actually a really good hacker. He's just so insufferable. Nobody wants to work with him.
Right. So that's our setup, and this glorious mess of and then okay, wait. Also, like, the contrast between Slough House and what they call it something else. Let me find it real quick. It's something park. Looks like that's a fictional thing, but anyways, the difference between like the Slough House office and the main MI5 office is so stark
Yeah.
that in itself is a reason for comedy. Like, main like there's this fucking door that just like is jammed, this stupid metal door that you have to like slam your shoulder into even to get into the office, and it's like just decrepit and smelly and awful. And then you go over to main MI5, and one of my critics described it as looking like a combination of the Apollo 16 movie headquarters and Google headquarters.
Yeah.
It's like everything's super shiny and
Yeah,
bright
yeah.
and sharp.
That's funny.
Let's talk about our cast. So we're gonna focus, obviously, because it's so much fun, on our cast of misfits, which is delightfully headed by Gary Oldman.
Yep.
And he's not only seems to be like the guy that was, maybe had a shinier career at some point.
Right.
But he's not only like a prisoner, quote unquote, in Slough House, he's also the warden.
Yeah, right.
And I think we're going to find out more about that. Like, his job really does seem to be to punish everyone that's been sent here.
Absolutely. He even mentions it multiple times. He makes it very clear you should be miserable here. And yeah, he's kind of like, like how you put him as the prisoner and warden. I was thinking more like just that guy that got into hell but was like promoted like to be in charge, you know? And so his life's miserable because he's taking care of a bunch of miserable people. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like he like the show starts out with him waking up to a fart. He's just passed out on
Right.
the
Yeah.
couch, He's got
It does
holes in
look
his
like
socks.
it does look like he lives there. We have yet to seen him in 2 episodes. We've yet to see him leave. I think.
The office.
Well, he did come one time down to the computer room.
Oh yeah, right.
But we haven't seen him leave the office. It does look like he lives there, sleeps there, drinks, passes out there, shits his bed there, and just fucking, yeah, he's a goddamn mess. But of course, it's super fun. We get these little hints, and like we're on the edge of our seat watching Gary Oldman and saying, like, wait a second, this guy, it seems like he might be like secretly brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a lot of fun
That's
to
what it
find out
seems like.
more
That he
about what's
was
going
like
on
a
with him.
yeah, especially with like his counterpart in the bigger building. She even speaks about him with reverence. Even though he's like the leader of the rejects, like he was like a heavyweight and like survived, the real shit of being undercover, type of thing. So we're not quite sure what was fucked up. I think we got like one mention of a flashback where he said Berlin's been blown. So we don't know what that means or how that happened or what's going on, but
Sure. But he used to be like, to borrow the Vietnam term, like in Cold War terms, like he used to be in the shit.
yeah, right. Yeah, like on the
Um,
front lines of intelligence.
Also worth noticing, just a tiny little thing, like him and the lady that is, I guess, okay, the lady at MI5 that's like, his not I don't want to say counterpart, but the contrasting
Right.
uh official, they're on a first name basis, by
Yeah,
the way.
Catherine's
So
her name, and I can't remember her last name. It was a very but yeah, it's Catherine, right?
nope.
Oh, never mind.
Nope, but I'll get it. It's oh, no. Yeah, Catherine
Oh,
Stan.
okay.
No. Catherine is his um Catherine is the office administrator for
Oh,
Slough
her,
House.
the wife of like his buddy or something.
It's Diana Taverner is the
Tavener, that's her
is
last
the
name.
deputy director general of MI5. They sometimes refer to her as the second desk.
Uh
So there is, like, she's the head of operations, but she does have one person above her, which is referred to sometimes as the first desk.
I see.
So she's just one step below the toppy top of
Okay.
MI5. But they definitely know each other, seem to have a personal history, which is not explored in the first 2 episodes, but I'm looking forward to hearing more about. I want to talk more about what we got for a cast here. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Featured agencies. So, I mean, we've set it up pretty much, but everything here we've talked about so far is under the umbrella of MI5. So
Right.
there's main MI5 at a place called Regent's Park, which seems to be made up by my Googling.
Okay.
I think they called it, they call it River House in something we did recently. That was the
I
Night
think it was Zip
Manager.
Press, wasn't it?
No, that was Night Manager.
Oh, Nightmare. That's right. Yeah.
But I don't think there's an actual Regent's Park. Interestingly, Slough House is based on a certain address in London. And apparently, the author described this address and this location, even though, okay, so Slough House is fictional, at least as far as we know.
Hmm.
But the author's description of the this location was apparently so detailed and so modeled off an actual place in real life that a certain fan was able to pinpoint the exact address in the books, and then they ended up using that same location in shooting for the TV series.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That's
cast: Gary Oldman, second appearance, if I'm not mistaken, as a character on this podcast, right?
I think so. Yeah, I don't
because
think
we
he's
had
been
him
in
in
anything else. Yeah, we had him
Tinker
in Tinker
Tailor.
Tailor Soldier Spy. Yeah.
Jonathan Pryce
Yes,
is now how many times?
I think this is second, isn't it? How
No,
many times?
this is his third, buddy.
Oh
What do you
wow!
what do you remember? Which one do you remember that we've talked about Jonathan Pryce in before?
Wasn't he in Munich?
Not Munich.
Oh, you got me
Uh,
baffled now.
uh, it was a 1995 movie. A lot of action.
Oh,
Robert,
Mission Impossible?
Robert
No.
De
Oh,
Niro.
that's right. He was in Ronin. That's
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
he's also a he's also in the ranks of Bond villains. Tomorrow
Oh,
Never
I
Dies.
blocked all that out.
Tomorrow Never Dies. He's our
Yeah.
Bond villain in that one.
Oh, that's right. He was like the Zuckerberg or whatever, the
Hmm.
Steve Jobs whatever guy. Yeah, that's right. I
We
blocked that
also
movie out.
have another repeat performance in Paul Higgins, and this is the guy we're talking about, like that is the super chatty, wants to be friends with everyone in a
Uh-huh.
super annoying way in the office.
Uh-huh.
And I I double checked it, and I'm right. He's our fastest turnaround for a second appearance on this podcast. We saw him in.
The most recent Ipcrest show, right?
That's right.
Yeah, he
Where
was
he
the minister or whatever.
Minister of Defense, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That was a good. I remember we were watching it. You pointed that out. Good
Yeah,
catch on you.
drastically different performance.
Yes, very, very
So,
different.
so the guy's got a little bit of range on him. Um, Kristen Scott Thomas is the actor name of the Diana Taverner
Hmm.
character, the Deputy Director General of MI5. We haven't seen her before, but apparently, if we ever get around to doing the original Mission Impossible movie, it turns out she's in that. So we'll have to remember that
Oh, was she a Bond girl?
in Mission Impossible.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, you're talking about the. I heard you said Mission Impossible. I heard Bond because we were just.
I
I was just thinking about
I absolutely can't even imagine who she would have been in that movie.
in the first one, right?
The first one.
I can't think of who she would be either.
Yeah. I mean, she might have just been a background character. Who knows? But if and when we get to Mission Impossible, we'll have to remember to give her the prize of a multiple appearance. Um, I think I've only got one other thing to talk about before we go into uh, a little tradecrafty detail and talk about the actual events of the episode. And that is to flag this super dope theme song, which is Mick fucking Jagger, who along with the show's regular composer, like, created this theme song. He actually reached out to them when he found out they were making a show of slow horses. Apparently Mick Jagger is a huge fan of the books, and he called them and said, I please let me do your theme song. There's no way that it worked the other way. There's
Right.
no way. There's no way that Apple TV like said, we're sitting around the table, executives saying like, well, let's see, who should we get to do our theme song for us? And someone's like, well, I heard Mick Jagger's not doing anything lately. Let's call him. No way, dude. There's no way you could afford Mick Jagger for this. So,
Could you
uh,
imagine being the showrunner and you just get Mick Jagger's like guy calling? And I'd be like, hey, Mick Jagger wants to do his song. Like you're already pre-planning stuff and thinking about budget and you're trying to piece together the whole project. And you just get like a phone call, like just like a little like hookup from out of the sky. You know what I mean? Like a like a little blessing here. Like, by the way, Mick Jagger wants to do the opening song for
dude,
me.
you would pinch yourself really hard,
Yeah.
really hard to check to see if you were dreaming, and you would read that email at least 12 times before you even thought about mentioning it to your superiors.
Yeah,
You'd be like,
right.
there's no way this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's a dope song. I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it adds a great feel to the show. Like it doesn't feel out of place at all.
It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect. And so you get that, you feel that love that Mick
Yeah.
Jagger has for the original material.
Hmm.
He's bringing it.
Yeah.
He's bringing it. He's taking you there. He wants to
Yeah.
take you there.
Absolutely.
All right. So episode 1. What's going on, buddy?
Well, this was more of kind of like meeting the characters. But we got a pretty cool, nice piece of tradecraft. Our main character is shown like trying to catch a guy at the airport. And there's like a bomber, and the bomber successfully bombs. And we later discover that was a training simulation scenario. And that's a pretty expensive training scenario because they were actually at the airport, and it looked like everybody on the team was kind of training too. You know?
I call absolute bullshit on this as a training exercise.
Yeah, right.
This would be impossible.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I don't care. Like, I love the show enough, but
Yeah.
I 10 seconds of thinking about like what they hired, like I guess they actually shut down the airport and hired like 1,000 extras to
That or
do
they just did
this.
it actually at the airport, which is even a little bit more concerning,
Right.
especially since he punches out a guard. Oh, that's right. No, they said he was an actor. So that's
Right. All the people later that he's saying, like, you injured this person, you injured this person, you injured. He's like, that was an actor. That was an actor. That was also an actor. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, that was pretty awful. Um, but I guess he got the wrong description, and it turns out later we find out that we're not actually confirming this, but he claims that the guy that gave him the description gave him the wrong description. But
Oh,
they say,
I can confirm. I can confirm.
oh, that he did give him the wrong description.
Yes. Blue shirt,
Oh,
white tee, or whatever. Yeah, blue shirt, white tee was what the guy said, and it was actually the opposite.
oh,
And
I thought we didn't see that.
apparently that's like the I,
That's what got him fired.
it's so like this training exercise part is the stupidest part of the show
Yeah,
if you think about it.
absolutely,
But the thing
absolutely.
is, once you get into the show, you don't care, but
Yeah,
it makes no goddamn sense. 100%. Like, if they're doing all this stuff and they actually, like, why is the deputy director of MI5 is involved in fucking training
right.
exercises?
Yeah.
Um,
and
but
and didn't you say that they would have had it recorded so they would
they
know that
would have
he?
had it. They would have had it recorded.
Yeah. Well, if like I'm taking your word on this that he actually showed us on the show that he said this and he was made the guy that told him made the mistake. That changed
Right.
my whole theory. I had some grand theory about our deputy director later. Like
Ooh.
partially my theory might work, but that if we actually saw him make the mistake and then lie about it, that makes it worse, and my theory goes out the window.
Well, I mean, there is going to be some big room for theorizing around this. After we get some facts on the table, I
Yeah,
think we're really going to want to talk about River. That's our main character's first name. He's
Cartwright.
River Cartwright. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Uh, you know, without going, I want to go into, I want to save the detail for later, but there seems to be a very special interest in this person that facts don't seem to support that we've seen so far.
yeah,
I would just put it that way for now. Um, so yeah, I absolutely, I can't even figure out why he's in trouble for this training exercise in the first place,
yeah.
even if it wasn't for the confusion of the color of the shirts. Um, it seemed like he did everything right, and it was like a Kobayashi Maru. There was no actual possible way to win.
No, yeah, that's why I kind of had a little bit of a theory going on that maybe this was all planned out because that was the only way I was going to explain how silly that beginning was. But hey, you know what? I like the show so much anyway. We can just ignore the training exercise bit.
And I mean, although who knows, some details of it might circle around and come out to be important. So
Right,
I wouldn't entirely file it under the, just file it under bullshit and close the
right,
drawer. Um, but yeah, again, I really don't care.
yeah.
I like the show. I like the characters so much. So uncharacteristically, apparently, there is actually an operation of some kind running through that MI5 is choosing to run through Slough House.
Uh-huh.
And that has to do with observation of a certain reporter.
Yeah, he's like a has been um like right wing journalist.
Uh-huh.
Um and
Hobden.
Hobden, that's right. But he's kind of like a nobody at this point. But the main MI5 seems to think he is a person of interest. So
Right, but they're
they've
not going after him directly. They're having Slough House look at him.
which is really interesting. And um, by the way, I wanted to really point out how much I enjoy like how realistic a lot of this. It like we always talk about this. Like to make a movie or a TV show, you got to make things interesting, right? And a lot of intelligence work is not that exciting. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
you're running surveillance 24/7 and nothing's happening. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You're just kind of sitting in a car and you're like, okay, or you're doing cross section research on files on stuff. So I wanted to point out some of this like very realistic, like, and I think they needed to do it in a show like this because they're talking about the rejects of MI5 and they just give them the grunt work. You know, we got Linda or what's her name, uh, giving out files to everybody like, hey, do cross sections on all this stuff. Like here, take a look at library checkouts for money laundering. And the
From
chick is like, from the library. She's like, if you have money, you're not going to be at the library, right? So,
hey,
and then this guy's
parking tickets from 1995, no stone unturned, huh?
right, exactly. Such a good line. And then they got our main character going through trash, right? And trash is actually a good place to see, but he doesn't really find anything until a little bit later. But they're giving them the most menial of jobs, right? And I think what is it, Sid is our only one that gets anything interesting. She's running actual surveillance on this guy. I think this
Yeah.
is like the best piece of tradecraft we got in the show so far.
Well, you can tell me what she does,
Okay.
and then I'll have maybe some comments on what she actually gets out of it.
Right. So this kind of has been nobody right ring reporter uh, is at like a coffee shop with his laptop, and she's kind of watching him, and she plays kind of like the excited or just like the quirky girl next door and asks to borrow his newspaper, spills his drink, which now distracts him to kind of wipe it up. She pulls out his thumb drive, puts his thumb drive into her computer as she's trying to help clean up. Then, gets all the information, puts the thumb drive back in as they're still cleaning up. And I thought this was kind of clever. I don't know how easy it'd be able to pull this off in real life, but I feel like this is kind of something you got to. I just like the idea of the distraction and then just the quick sleight of hand that she pulls off, and I liked it. I like to think that somebody out there is capable of something like this. Makes you want to kind of watch what you're doing.
Yeah, story wise, they're selling her as competent in a
Yeah,
way that I mean, a lot of the people at Slough House maybe like it's not like they're complete fuck ups. It's just that they're people that have fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
it seems. Um, so like, also what's interesting about the show is like these people have some competencies. They're just overshadowed by like whatever failures they have, and we have absolutely no idea what her failure was, because the show is selling her to us as being like hyper competent, and our main character picks up on that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what she gets off the laptop of this Hobden guy, or I'm sorry, she actually grabs his USB key off of his key ring,
Oh yeah, that's right. It was on his key ring. That's right.
because we're gonna find out later, when they run it, that it's nothing but a program that's calculating pi.
Right? That was so funny. Which is weird because that means it was a force, right? Like in magic, they'll force a card on. There's different ways to do magic card tricks, and one of them is you force the card, and that way you know what card the person's gonna get, so you can kind of be like, you got the 8 of hearts or some shit. That they were expecting someone to steal. So what do you think? We don't really find out why they were doing that. Was there even a reason to do that? Like mad plus spy points on that, but what do you think the point of that was?
I'm hoping. I mean, this is what I'm thinking. If I'm the, and we're made to know that this guy is very, very paranoid about
Mm-hmm.
having his data stolen.
Yeah.
He doesn't use the internet
Mm-hmm.
even at all. He makes all of his phone calls.
Oh,
He
that's
uses
right. Didn't the hacker
directly.
call it air gapped?
Right. Yeah, air gapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his laptop, he doesn't use email. That's also like why he's like having to like go through all these like multiple phone calls like over and over to the people he's trying to reach. And he's also using burner phones,
Mm-hmm.
which at one point we see him toss into the trash. But if I'm that guy and I'm worried about someone stealing my data, like I don't need to put a program running Pi on my thumbstick. I could just have a thumbstick that's fucking blank,
Right.
or maybe, I don't know. Maybe the point is to, so that if anyone looked at it, they would say like, "Oh, there's like 16 gigs of data on it,"
Oh yeah, yeah,
which would
yeah,
look
yeah.
different than if it was completely blank. But what I'm
Right.
quietly hoping is that, uh, I'm quietly hoping that there's actually something to that pi number that they'll figure out later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think you read Contact.
I saw the
You
movie.
you saw the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Let me tell you something that was not in the movie, that was in the book. It's the very last scene of the book where she realizes, the Jodie Foster character
Mm-hmm.
realizes that if you get to a certain digit in pi, there's actually a message. And
Oh.
the implication is that the universe, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's such a fucking amazing concept, that actually like that God left us a secret message in the mathematics of a circle, for us to
Oh.
find
Okay.
when we were ready.
Right. Right.
And that's where the book ends, and it's like such a fucking stunner. But
Right.
on a much less level, like I'll be secretly hoping that they will come back and somehow they'll figure out like, no, it's not running pi. There's a secret message in here somehow.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I
Right.
want.
Right.
That's what I want.
Hopefully, that'll be nice.
But but yeah, again, we have massive questions about why MI5 is running this observation on Hopton through Slough House. It does look like Our Lady over at the house,
Mm-hmm.
our big lady, uh, has actually given Gary Oldman's character some very specific instructions about this, so he knows more than he's telling. And
Well, he does kind of. Well, I don't know. This might be a good. Well, we're still on episode 1, right?
we can take it anywhere. We can blend them together.
Oh, okay. Because he does ask the assistant. Man, what's it? Linda? I think her name is Linda. He does ask her, which, and then he says it's rhetorical just to make him an extra dick. Um, yeah, he was like, "What are the coincidence? What are the? Do you think it's a coincidence that um, Kathy, Diane, sorry, that Diane has Slough House run an op on Hobden right around when a crazy right wing group kidnaps a Pakistani kid?" And then she's about to give him an answer. He's like, "That was rhetorical," but so he already starts thinking that she's suspicious.
And that's strongly suggested. That's really good to key in on that, because so we have evidence to believe that he knows more than he's telling,
Mhm.
but also that rhetorical question indicates he can kind of deduce that he doesn't know everything that he should know.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just like, and that was part of my theory. But if that guy does actually, it shows in the show that he does make the mistake and then lies about it, then that means absolutely. I was thinking maybe she purposely put him in trouble, and that would explain why it wasn't recorded. Um, that she specifically wanted him to get in trouble, and that she was like throw him on another bus, but that doesn't work. Um,
Right. Like the intelligence level of this show is such that I'm certain of one thing. Um, although I could be wrong, but I feel certain of one thing. Like you could look at this and just say like, well, they're just running an operation through Slough House so that if things go wrong, they have someone to blame. That would be an incredibly obvious twist. So I feel like though it has to be something more, and I'm really curious to find out what's going on. This show, more than anything else, I think we've done in a while, raises questions that I am like on the edge of my seat, wanting to know what the fucking answer is.
yeah, I'm really excited to see where this goes too, because or at least I'm hoping there's something more there. But
Hmm.
I think suspicion is on Diane here.
We have a variation of the park bench.
That's right. Her and Moody meet at a baseball stadium that's like empty, or
Uh huh.
maybe it's a cricket. You know what? Maybe it's probably cricket. They don't have baseball in England.
I don't think they
Uh,
have baseball in England.
yeah,
Do they have
but
stadiums for cricket? I guess they
oh,
do.
they of course they do. Uh, yeah, they're like at an empty cricket field, I think, and so that's our park bench scene.
Hmm.
Uh, um, and that was also that's also throwing a little shade on her. By the way, we find out Moody, one of the guys at Slough House, who I guess was a dog. Did you find out what that means? I have no idea
I
what the.
did. I've never heard this term before.
Uh,
Apparently, some people at MI5 in this universe are
mm,
referred to as the dogs, which I just imagine. I mean, I immediately imagine just being the guys that do the grunt knocking on doors.
like the muscle.
That yeah, the muscles,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Um, but I don't know. One entry I saw, I think on Wiki or something, which I don't necessarily trust, said that the dogs might be like internal security.
So Moody lets Diane know that he's actually found out some information about Lamb because he didn't trust him, and so he knows if he ever leaves where he would go and who he would see and stuff like that. And she's like, you've bugged his office. And he was like, how did they not find them? And she was like, don't tell me you do the sweeps. You do the sweep. So basically, the guy that's bugged Lamb is in charge of sweeping the whole building for bugs. Anyway, so I guess that's when she decides, okay, I'm gonna have you do some stuff off the record. So this is throwing more suspicion on Diane because she's now asking this guy who's revealed that he doesn't trust Lamb and is willing to do some dirty stuff. that she's going to have him do some extracurricular things that aren't involved in official MI5 business. Um, and uh, and I want to tie this in with that guy that is. Oh, by the way, we didn't really talk about the kidnapping. Episode 1 ends with this crazy right wing group that's kidnapped a Pakistani like comedian, and they want to cut off his head. Well, it turns out he's like born in England. He's a British citizen, been going to school. Uh, like I think his grandparents were the immigrants, so he's like third generation or something. But they think he's a Muslim. He's not really practicing. I guess his family was. He's not even the guy they're trying to hurt, but they just grab some random Pakistani guy. And they're putting live videos up on social media showing him holding up the Times and that, yeah, we're going to cut off his head tomorrow, just like those terrorists do. We got to like cleanse our English people so that we're white only, or I don't know, whatever. But there's a guy in that group of kidnappers that like sneaks off and pulls out a phone. Diane actually mentions that they have sources. And so it makes me think, oh, maybe that guy's the source. But now that we got this kind of suspicion of Diane, I'm wondering if he's working for her too.
Because right. If he's we know he secretly sent a text to someone. We don't know who. It could have been Hopton.
By the way, you were away from the mic. I don't know if.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, yeah. We know that he sent a text secretly to someone. We don't know who. Could have been Hopton. Could have been Hopton.
That's right. It could have been Hopton. But why would he keep it a secret from the group then? Aren't they cool with Hopton? Oh, you know what? Hopton, that's right. He was calling to let people know there's going to be like a big execution type of thing, right?
Right. And also a note about Hopton, like, a big question you might ask is if like he apparently is so worried. Now, okay. He's worried about something really bad happening, but I feel like he's worried about something more serious than just this public execution. I could be wrong about that. He says to one of his, colleagues that's like shutting him down, there will be blood on your hands. So that could be the decapitation plan. But a question one might genuinely ask is like, if you're so worried about some big shit happening, why are you just trying to get it in the news? Why aren't you like calling the authorities? And the reason for that is because he feels like he got fucked over by MI5 in the past.
Oh, that's right. And we find out because, by the way, we didn't talk about this. Jonathan Pryce, who plays Cartwright, his grandfather, is like a heavy hitter of previous like retired MI5 agents, and he's been pulling all these strings. And they were actually going to fire Cartwright, but his grandfather pulled these strings, and so he goes to see Cartwright about Hobden. And apparently, yeah, you're right. MI5 has been watching him and fucked him over in the past, or stopped him from being a psycho in the past. But I guess now he's trying to save people.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess like the story on him, we're still talking about Hopton, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that he was a communist in his college years. Mm-hmm. And then when he switched sides, he went like way over to the right. I have wonders about this guy. This guy might be an agent.
Oh, himself?
Yeah. I mean,
that would be interesting.
I don't know. But he is really trying to reach out to the press.
Yeah.
But he's not. But in these days, like, if you have this information, like, you don't have to spill it out to the press. You could just if you just get on your blog, maybe he's worried, like, he'll just sound like one crazy guy.
Yeah.
But if he's so worried about this situation, and again, we don't exactly know what situation he's worried about, if it's just the decapitation or if he knows about like, something more traditional, like a bomb plot.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's why they wouldn't take his call, because he's a has-been journalist.
Well, it's because, he got like tied to right-wing nationalist crazies.
Okay,
which
okay.
are out there too. And there's this politician out there too that we're seeing some stuff of, that for some reason River, I guess, just based on like looking through Hobden's trash, he found
Uh-huh.
like a periodical, a right wing periodical, and so he's following up on the views of those. But that politician is connected to this somehow. Got to
Oh,
be.
absolutely. Yeah. Clearly, because the show wants us to see him, and he's making all these brash claims. So yeah, clearly there's something going on with him.
Yeah.
Um, so from that, oh, by the way, Cartwright's, still like salty about getting kicked out of MI5, and so he's trying to do something more exciting. So I guess he's starting to pick up on like something's up with Hobden if they want us to watch him. So he's taking upon himself to like actually work on this extracurricularly. So he's actually tailing Hobden himself uh, off of a tip from the hacker guy. Because when the hacker guy mentions Hobden's air gapped, he was like, he's probably got like that safeguard using thermite. And he tells him the ingredients of what thermite. And if you don't know what thermite is, thermite can pretty much burn through anything. So the idea would be that he has like a makeshift safety. Like if anything goes haywire, I could set this up and it'll burn through my hard drive, and no one will find what was on my hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Um, so that tips Cartwright to go back into the trash and look around, and he does find some residue of one of the ingredients of thermite, which leads him to tail Hobden, and then Hobden does something suspicious, and Sid apparently follows him and gets in the car, and now we
And
find out
that's
Sid. Oh yeah, go ahead.
no, you're on it. You're on it.
Yeah. Uh, so that's when we like Sid's been kind of friendly with Cartwright. They kind of like take stabs at each other, but it's more like, office coworker stuff.
They're gonna
Um,
fuck.
they're gonna fuck. Yeah,
They're gonna fuck.
there's definitely some chemistry going on.
Except for the
But
fact that she gets shot in the fucking head
yeah,
at the end of
yeah.
this episode. But all along the way, this definitely looks like,
they're gonna
this,
fuck.
we know where this is ending.
Yeah,
It's in the bed.
yeah.
We're gonna work out these fucking issues with in between the bed sheets
Yeah, right.
at some point.
But yeah, in the car while he's kind of watching Hobden, she reveals that she was hired by Diane to watch Cartwright, which is super weird. I mean, just
That is
they just keep
super
throwing
weird.
suspicion on her, right? On a Diane. So, but Hobden shows up, and so they all start running out to go see what's going on with Hobden. And so there's like, is it Hobden's house that they're at?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So they end up.
Although that kind of doesn't make sense. Like that whole bit of River trailing Hobden. And then there was like this crazy cool stuff where he like, switched buses or
Mhm.
whatever. And I don't want to walk into all the details, but like, and Hobden is clearly like really good at throwing tails off,
Yeah,
but not so good that like when he figures out and finds out or thinks that he's safe on the new bus, we see like Rivers like right behind him, which was awesome. But I didn't understand, like, because then we cut away from that scene. We never figure out like what River got out of that.
yeah.
Was it just like to find out where the guy lives? I would
I
have thought that
guess.
would have been easier to
Yeah, you would think
figure
it'd be
out.
easier to figure out. Or maybe
Right.
it's his. Maybe he's got like a. If he's that paranoid, he probably has like a safe house that he works out of or something.
Very possible.
Maybe I don't know. But there's a thug there trying to kill Hobden, and of course we see the thermite go off on the computer. Um, Cartwright kind of separates them. Sid goes after the guy with the gun. Uh, Hobden gets away, but Cartwright's kind of knocked out, and Sid gets shot in the head, and that's how episode 2 ends. So we got
Right.
quite the cliffhanger going
Big
into the
time.
next
Big time.
couple
And we
episodes.
haven't watched episodes 3 and 4 yet.
No.
So that'll be interesting. So let's sum up, and we have guests coming soon. So right.
Yeah.
It is weird that MI5 is wanting to investigate Hobden uh, through the path of Slough House. We know, and also I think this was stupid of Diana, minus spy points real quick, even though we're not keeping score on TV shows, but
Yeah.
minus spy points where when she told Moody, like I gave Lamb, that's Gary Oldman, very specific instructions, and you weren't in those instructions. There's no reason she should have told him that, but it's
Right.
important for us to catch that as audience. Like, there is some kind of secret arrangement going on between Diana and Lamb.
Yeah.
But we also know, like you pointed out, that Lamb is pretty sure that Diana is not telling him everything, because he's sitting there wondering about this coincidence of having us do, again, everyone's kind of noticing, like, this is not the sort of thing they usually put through Slough House. So what's going on? So he knows that she's hiding something from him. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we know even more that she's hiding something from him, because we get the scene with her in the stadium with Moody, where she's asking him to do some special favors. All this time, we're given all these clues that, for some totally opaque reason for me right now, that they're very interested in River. Like, Gary Oldman's character, Lamb, is very, very intent on keeping track of where River is going, and wondering why he isn't at his desk at a lot of points. Like, why is he so worried about this?
Yeah.
And also with the revelation that Sid is actually not in Slough House because she did something wrong, that she was put there by Diana specifically to keep track of River. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Have and then and then some British white nationalists want to cut off a dude's head on the internet and make a big statement. Did I get everything?
That sounds like a whole sum up of what's going on, and we're not quite sure who's on what side and who, if anybody knows what's going on. I mean, Diane looks like she's trying to stop the white nationalists, at least on the surface, right? But something's fishy.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something's fishy. So, I guess we'll have to see what's going on in the next couple episodes. Do you have any other points you wanted to chat about?
I could leave them. I might mention, little plus spy points for the analysis guys on figuring out, from the videos, the type of brick that was
Oh
used in
yeah,
the basement
yeah, that was
of,
cool. Yeah,
of the videos that the white nationalists are putting out. I always
uh,
love that kind of stuff. That
right.
kind of like uh video forensics. Um, there's also like this tiny little thing where Diana gets a call from the Prime Minister of Pakistan,
Mhm.
which, by the way, that call shouldn't have gone to her. That call should have gone to the first desk.
Oh
That
yeah,
call
yeah,
should have gone to her boss or even someone higher.
yeah.
But her comment after finding out that the Pakistani Prime Minister is involved is that maybe this wasn't a random snatch. So there
Yeah.
might be something actually special about this guy, this Pakistani kid that the white nationalists pick up that we don't know about yet.
Oh,
This is
that's
going to
right.
be
Oh, by the way,
this.
the white nationalists were called the Sons of Albion.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you say that was an Arthur reference?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Albion comes up a lot in Arthurian literature.
Oh,
It's a very, very old name
mhm,
for Britain. I did check to see if Albion has been appropriated by white supremacists in Britain.
mhm,
It doesn't look like it has, but it would kind of fit into the general theme
mhm,
of hyper right wing, longing for the old days, in the same way that Hitler was really trying to like build up his whole, mythology about like ancient Germany. Like it would work the same way.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's a good choice. But from my slight little bit of wiki research, that actually hasn't happened in real life. But again, it just fits.
Okay. That sounds.
They're those kind of guys.
Yeah, right. They'd be like, yeah, we should go back to Arthurian days with us Englands,
right?
That fought off the Picts and the Saxons. All these immigrants, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's. But I thought we should point that out in talking about this show, because I know you pointed that out when we were watching it, and I thought that was kind of a clever name for a group like that.
Sure.
And I guess it sounds even more clever when you explain it.
So we know we are on the clock. I can't get out of here without mentioning that Navalny, the documentary about the attempted assassination of Putin's number one political rival, is fucking fantastic.
That's right, yeah.
And I think that all of our listeners, unless you only listen to this show for The Man Called Flintstone and Spy Kids, I think a lot of our audience, if they haven't seen it, they absolutely should.
Well, I'm excited for it because I remember I came in when you were finishing watching it, and you definitely sold me on it. So at the very least, we'll do a brush pass and chat about it.
At the very least. So next week, we'll get into the middle of Slow Horses and maybe find the answers to some of these mysteries, and maybe be introduced to some further questions.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll catch you then.
All right, take care.
All right.
The preceding transmission sampled the song Enter the Party by Kevin MacLeod, and sound effects from freesound.org. Attributions and links are found at spieslikeus.net.